The plump pair met an untimely demise when a knife fell from the heavens, only to find herself plummeting through the air after her reincarnation, landing squarely atop a handsome man clad in red. As she regained consciousness, she found herself in a precarious position, her hands gripping his belt. Soon after, she encountered a monstrous creature that erupted from the dark river, launching into the sky before crashing down. Upon reaching the shore, she engaged in a battle of wits with a mischievous child. What an exhilarating start to her new life. Oh my, where did this knife come from? It seems to have fallen from above. That person appears to be in dire straits. The plump pair, tall and robust with a fiery disposition, was accustomed to bullying others, compelling even the bulliest of men to concede. She had once pondered the possibility of dying from her weight, yet never anticipated that her demise would come at the hands of a celestial knife. She had scarcely glimpsed its shape before darkness enveloped her, leaving her only with the echo of the words knife. Drifting in a haze for what felt like an eternity, she was jolted awake by a sudden impact on her back, her senses sharpening in an instant. As she opened her eyes, she was startled to discover herself plummeting through the air. Looking down, she beheld a swirling mist beneath her, a dizzying height that filled her with dread. Is this hell? Is she to be punished by being reduced to a pulp? Although she had never committed any heinous acts, the worst she had done was dunk the neighboring skinny lad into a river for an hour during a frigid winter, resulting in his pneumonia for half a year. She even wished to compensate him for her misdeeds, but he had refused her offer and moved away. This was not her fault. Just as the plump pair resigned herself to her fate, a flash of crimson dashed past her. Before she could react, she collided with the figure, instinctively clutching onto him. With a thunderous crash and a piercing scream, they landed heavily on the ground, causing her heart, laden with flesh, to quiver. Who was this unfortunate soul? Regardless of his condition, she felt no pain. Her bones were intact, yet her body felt as heavy as if burdened by 1,000 pounds, utterly beyond her control. Initially believing she had merely fallen hard, the subsequent events left her utterly astonished. She shakily rose and charged forward, colliding with the red-clad man who had just struggled to his feet, sending him sprawling to the ground. The impact was so severe that she felt a pang of sympathy for him. In the next moment, her mind went blank. She was utterly bewildered. What was she doing? After 28 years of being single, surely she was not so desperate as to throw herself at someone so recklessly. Even if he possessed an ethereal beauty, exuding an aura of defiance, even in unconsciousness, this was not appropriate. Yet her body refused to heed her commands, her spirit seemingly tethered. Sensing something amiss, she fought against the restraints, catching a glimpse of a swirling dark mist that howled and threatened to consume her. Almost instinctively, she lunged at it, engaging in a fierce struggle. Time slipped away, and eventually, she sensed her victory, awakening with clarity. Upon opening her eyes, she found herself atop a man, his eyes tightly shut, a trickle of blood at the corner of his mouth, presumably from her bite. His clothing was tattered, barely concealing his form, leaving him clad in little more than trousers. Her hands rested upon his belt. The plump pair felt as if struck by lightning, her fingers frozen in place, questioning whether she was ensnared in a dream. If this were a dream, might she continue to dream? Such a striking man surely belonged to the heavens, far surpassing even the most glamorous of celebrities. In reality, she would never dare act in such a manner. He would undoubtedly retaliate by seeking her imprisonment. Fat Pear found wisdom in the old adage that dreams encompass everything. Tightening her grip on her belt, she pondered, should she tear it off? Brother, divine general, meow. As Fat Pear tugged at her belt, a sudden shout startled her, causing her to fumble and the belt to snap back with a loud pop. The elasticity of this belt is quite impressive. Even in a dream, Fat Pear felt an overwhelming sense of guilt, hastily leaping up and pulling a fiery red bird's wing over the handsome figure beside her before bolting away. She suspected that the large red bird might have perished due to her actions, yet lacked evidence. As she ran, she abruptly found herself at a dead end. A bottomless river loomed before her, forcing her to halt. A thunderous scream erupted from behind, sending chills down her spine, compelling her to leap into the river without a second thought. Indeed, a guilty conscience cannot be ignored, even in dreams. The more Fat Pear contemplated, the more she felt something was amiss. This water felt far too real, entirely unlike a dream. As she pondered, a sudden chill enveloped her, and an instinctual surge of energy encased her, instantly freezing her into an ice sculpture, the layer thick as a small iceberg. Fat Pear was bewildered what was happening. In the next moment, a creature with a dragon-like head, sharp fangs, serpentine body, finned back, and robust limbs swam below, soon returning as if searching for something. Fat Pear. Could it be that this beast is hunting for me? This dream is far too exhilarating. Suddenly, a sharp pain struck her head, and a flood of memories rushed inch had crossed over. She inhabited the body of a 19-year-old girl also named Jianli, nicknamed Fat Pear. The original owner's memories loaded at lightning speed. While others traversed dimensions with grace, she had transformed from a 186 centimeters, 250-pound figure to a staggering 168 centimeters, 500-pound heavyweight, comparable in size to the hefty pig next door. Fat Pear. Bang! The massive ice was struck. She snapped back to reality, glancing up to see the monster hovering ahead, fixated on the ice block. That earlier blow had been delivered by its claw. This creature's girth surpassed even her 500-pound form, and its gaping maw could likely swallow both ice and person. Whole snakes can consume prey several times their size. The mere thought of it gnawing at the ice made her skin crawl. Only then did she realize she was submerged in a dark river, the riverbed aglow with various objects though not too dim. The distance obscured their details. Had there been no monster, she would have certainly dived down to collect some. Where's the monster? Fat Pear glanced around, believing it had departed. When she inadvertently caught sight of the tail, so it was right by her feet. Fat Pear. Dear brother, out of curiosity, I assure you, I am not delectable. Bang! The creature swiped at the ice block, sending it flying like an arrow. Just as she thought she had escaped, the beast pursued her with astonishing speed. Crack! The monster caught up and bit into the ice block, gnawing at it thrice before pausing, a look of confusion on its face. Fat Pear was terrified this layer of ice was not particularly thick if it bit in 20 centimeters deep and took another couple of bites. Her feet would surely be gone. Bang! The monster, evidently enraged, swiped at her with another paw. She turned pale with fright. The ice block, already gnawed upon, shattered under the force. Fortunately, once the monster vented its wrath, it departed and did not pursue her further. The ice block floated into a realm of darkness, and before long, it was violently shattered, swept away by the current and lodged at the mouth of the water. Before the chubby Pear could react, she was forcefully expelled by the water pressure, resembling a cork shot from an underground river, only to crash down with a resounding thud. Upon regaining daylight, the splash was spectacular, a chaotic display of water. On the riverbank, a group of raucous children, sweltering in the heat, crept over to bathe. The eldest among them was 12, while the youngest was merely 5. Having shed their clothes, they clamored to see who was taller, with Li reveling in his advantage due to his age. Splash! A thunderous sound erupted, sending the children into a frenzy, abandoning their clothes and fleeing in sheer panic. There's a monster! Help! By the time the chubby Pear resurfaced from the water, the children had long vanished, leaving behind a scattering of garments. She struggled to reach the shore, her ample frame making her limbs appear disproportionately short. After a futile effort, she grasped a handful of water weeds to catch her breath. Looking up, she was struck dumb by the sight of a towering tree. On the bank was that the golden tree? As she surveyed her surroundings, familiarity washed over her. Indeed, this was the place from the original owner's memories. Cool river, cool village, cool mountain. The original owner's family resided in Cool Village, comprising 5 members, parents, siblings, and herself. The thought of confronting the original owner's family sent her into a panic. How could she mimic the original owner's gloomy disposition? What if she was discovered? At that moment, a group of curious children, curiosity overpowering their fear, returned. Li led the charge, bare-bottomed, hands shielding himself, cautiously inching back while peering anxiously towards the river. Had to return, their clothes were still there. Children, lend me a hand, pull me up, the chubby Pear cried out, waving with excitement upon seeing them. Startled by the voice, the children almost took flight, only to halt as they realized something was amiss. Was that a human voice? Wang Ji scratched his head, hurriedly covering himself again. Let's investigate. Li gritted his teeth. As they approached, they beheld a large figure floating in the water, grinning widely at them. The children were taken aback. Oh no, it's that chubby Pear. Let's get her. Attack. Fury ignited within the children, forgetting their modesty as they charged forward, ready to brawl. The chubby Pear's expression shifted. She had just recalled how the original owner was often despised, and the children frequently conspired against her. If they poked her with a stick, she would have to float away again. The river was perilous. The water beast had not strayed far. The chubby Pear's mind raced, and suddenly she shouted, Heavens! So many bald chickens. Li, what are you doing? You're 12 years old. The children paused. Li, I've been exposed. A shameless girl. Don't look. Am I no longer pure? Will I ever find a wife? The children erupted into a chorus of screams, hastily tossing aside their belongings to cover themselves, flustered and furious, torn between the desire to retaliate and the instinct to maintain their modesty. Hey, be careful. There are bugs flying around. If they bite you, you'll get poisoned. The chubby pair, devoid of shame, watched them in a flurry. The children were horrified, erupting into cries once more. Li Yin was not fooled, however. At the tender age of 12, he was acutely aware of the sensation of embarrassment. Under the scrutinizing gaze of the plump girl, he felt a mixture of shyness and anger, hastily covering himself and instinctively turning away. As he did so, the other mischievous children followed suit, turning their backs as well. Hey, your behind is truly dark. Have you all been crawling through your own kitchen? The plump girl shouted, scrambling up the bank. After all, it would be foolish not to seize this opportunity to ascend. The children, reminded of their own exposed backsides, frantically dashed behind a tree to hide. She's coming up. One of the children cried out in alarm. The plump girl chuckled mischievously, hands on her hips, and bellowed, "Come quick, everyone. Hey, race a bunch of bare bottoms ready to play in the river." The children, infuriated, shouted back, "How dare you? Let's get her." After a taunt, the plump girl seized the clothes lying on the ground, clutching them to her chest, and took off running.